Hello everyone, welcome back to Vinita Online Nursing Classes. This is your Vinita. How are you all? I hope that you are doing very well. After a long time, we are going to discuss the new topic, that is female reproductive system. Okay? We know that the reproductive organs in female that will be having with which are concerned with the copulation, fertilization, growth and development of the fetus. So that will be subsequent existing to the outer world. Okay, so this is the female reproductive system. See here, first we have to know the exact organs or exact parts of the female reproductive system. Okay, see here, this is the uterine fundus, uterus, ovarian ligament, fimbriae, myometrium, cervical canal, vagina, cervix, perimetrium, endometrium, ovary, embryo, fallopian tube. Okay, so these are the parts of the reproductive system. The female reproductive organs are broadly divided into three types of the organs. First one is external genitalia, second one is internal genitalia, third one is accessory reproductive organs. Let's discuss one by one. What is the first one? First one is the external genitalia. So under the external genitalia, there are the different types of the parts or the organs were involved. The first one is the mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, vestibule, perineum. Okay, so these are the 6 types of the organs or the parts will be coming under the external genitalia. Okay, we know that these vulva means external genitalia means vulva. So vulva will be consisting of the mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, sometimes hymen, clitoris, vestibule, urethra and skin's glands also will be involved. Bartholin's glands, vestibular bulbs. So here means therefore these all are anteriorly bounded anteriorly by the mons pubis. So whatever we have listed out, that labia majora, labia minora, hymen, clitoris, vestibule, urethra and skin's gland, Bartholin's glands, vestibular bulbs. So these are all of them automatically bounded anteriorly towards by the mons pubis, and posteriorly these were bounded by the rectum. Okay, see here, so these all are anteriorly bounded by the mons pubis, posteriorly it is bounded by the rectum, and coming to the laterally it is bounded by the genitocrural fold. Genitocrural, genitocrural fold. Okay, see here, the whatever the external genitalia, so external genitalia means vulva, vulva, vulva. So the vulva area is completely covered by keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. So by which layer the vulva was covered? The vulva was covered by the keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Got it? Coming to the external genital organs, let's discuss in detail what all are the external genital organs. So here external genital organs, see this picture So here external genital organs, vulva, mons pubis, this is a mons pubis, labia majora, okay, labia majora, labia minora, okay, so this is the labia minora, clitoris, okay, see here, this is the clitoris, vestibule of the vagina. So here the vestibule of the vagina means there is a external urethral orifice, means urethral opening, okay, urethral opening, and the vestibule glands will be present, means the vestibule glands means paraurethral glands, means skin's gland or the Bartholin's glands. Coming to the vaginal opening, then hymen layer will be present, and we know that this is the anus. Okay, so these are the external genital organs. Let's discuss one by one. So what is the first external genital organ? The first one is the mons pubis. Here, mons pubis mainly it is the pad of subcutaneous adipose connective tissue. Okay, and these what is the pad subcutaneous adipose connective tissue that will be lying in front of the pubis. Okay, so this adipose connective tissue is lying in front of the pubis, especially in the adult female, that will be covered by the pubic hair. Okay, got it? Then coming to the hair pattern. Okay, the hair pattern will be in the most women, that will be in the triangular shape, triangular with the base directed upwards. Okay, mainly these mons pubis, it covers and protects the pubic bone. Got it? So this is the main function or the main uses of the mons pubis. So got it? It will be one of the pad will be present over the mons pubis, the pad of the subcutaneous adipose tissue. So that will be covering or laying in front of the pubis, and especially coming into the adult female, there will be covered, that will be covered by the hair, and the hair pattern will be in the triangular shape. Mainly that triangular shape hair will be base directed towards upwards. Okay, mainly it covers and protects the pubic bone. Got it? This is the mons pubis. Coming to the second one, that is the labia majora. So here labia majora, mainly it is covered with squamous epithelium. Already we know that epithelial cells. Okay, so here this labia majora will be covered with the squamous epithelium, and it mainly contains the sweat glands. Okay, and it along with that, it is a homologous to the scrotum in the male, and it will be protecting the introitus and the urethral opening. So here mainly in this labia majora, the vulva is bounded on each side by the elevation of the skin and subcutaneous tissue. So which form the labia majora, means they are continuous, where they join medially to form the posterior commissure in front of the anus. So here the skin will be present, ma'am. The skin on the outer convex surface is mainly pigmented, and it is covered with the hair follicle. So this labia majora is covered with the hair follicles. Then also the labia majora mainly covering with the squamous epithelium, and it also contains the sweat glands. So here in this labia majora, mainly it will be the main function of the labia majora is it protects the introitus and the urethral opening. Okay, like the round ligament will be present over the labia majora, so that will be terminating as its upper border. Got it? So this is the labia majora. Coming to the third one is the labia minora. Here labia minora, in this labia minora, there are two thin folds of skin. Two thin folds of skin will be present over the labia minora, that will be having the deviod of fat on either side. There will be present just within the labia majora. So here except in the Paris women, okay, means they are exposed only when the labia majora are separated. Okay, anteriorly these labia minora will be divided to enclose the clitoris, and it will be unite with each other in front and beyond the clitoris to form the prepuce and frenulum. So here the lower portion of the labia minora, okay, the lower portion of the labia minora will be fuses across the midline to form the fold of skin. So if there is a forming the fold of skin, that we used to call it as a fourchette. Okay, Fourchette. Okay, here the labia minora is literally translated as small lips. Okay, and it is made up of erectile connective tissue. It is made up of erectile connective tissue. That tissue will be darkens and swells during the sexual arousal. Coming to the next point, that it can be very small or up to 2 inches wide. So the size of the labia minora will be very small, and it will be only having the that is up to 2 inches wide will be present. Mainly it is usually lacerated during childbirth. like between the forecheek and the vaginal orifice. So if there is a lacerated between the childhood, then there is a like forecheek will be present between the vaginal orifice, that is called as a fossa navicularis. Fossa navicularis. Okay, so here these labia minora contains no hair follicles. Labia majora contains hair follicles, but coming to here, labia minora doesn't contain any hair follicles or no sweat glands will be present over the labia minora. And here the fold, whatever the fold, the presence of the fold, that the fold will be connecting, having contains the connective tissue, means the numerous sebaceous glands like erectile muscles. So here already we have seen, so erectile connective tissue, erectile muscle fibers, and also the numerous vessels and nerve endings will be present over the labia minora. Okay, so here always these labia minora always will be the homologous to the penile urethra, and especially it will be having the homologous to the part of the skin of penis in males. Got it? So this is the labia minora. Coming to the clitoris. So here already we have seen in the picture starting only. So here clitoris, it is a small cylindrical erectile body. Okay, it will be in a small cylindrical erectile body, and it measures about 1.5 to 2 centimeters, and it is highly sensitive organ. Yes or no? It is a highly sensitive organ, and the vessels of the clitoris are connected with the vestibular bulb. So here these clitoris will be situated in the most anterior part of the vulva. Mainly it consisting of a glans, a body, and two crura. What will be presenting of the clitoris? Body, glans, and crura. Okay, so here it consisting of two cylindrical corpora cavernosa, means there is a presence of the erectile tissue also present over the clitoris. Okay, so here the glands, that will be only covered by the squamous epithelium, and it is having very richly supplied with the nerves. So whatever the vessels present over the clitoris, so the vessels of the clitoris that will be connected with the vestibular bulb. Okay, so that will be always connected to the vestibular bulb, and that will be having the liable to be injured during the childbirth. Got it? So here these clitoris is always homologous to the penis in the male, but it shows such kind of the difference. So let's see what is the difference. So it differs in being entirely separate from urethra. Yes, so it is showing such kind of the differs, like entirely separate from urethra, means these clitoris is especially attached to the undersurface of the symphysis pubis by the suspensory ligament. Got it? So here always this clitoris is attached with the undersurface of the symphysis pubis. Got it? So this is the clitoris. Coming to the vestibule. So here already we have seen in the picture what is the vestibule. So see here vestibule mainly, we have forgotten one point in the clitoris. So the clitoris mainly it is located under the prepuce, P-R-E-P-U-C-E. Okay, so it is located under the prepuce, and it is a highly sensitive organ. So these clitoris will be consisting of or composed of nerves, blood vessels, and erectile tissues. So what it is composed of? It is composed of nerves, blood vessels, and also the erectile tissues. So by these three were composed, these three tissues or these three were composed, clitoris were composed by these three main parts. Okay, got it? Coming to the vestibule. See here vestibule, like it is a triangular space. It is a triangular space bounded anteriorly by the clitoris. Okay, see here it is a, how we are saying that it is a triangular space bounded by the like anteriorly by the clitoris. See here vestibule. See this picture, this is the vestibule. So it is bounded anteriorly by the clitoris, and it is bounded posteriorly by the forecheek. Okay, the next picture we can able to see the where the fourchette may present. Okay, so and also the another side of the vestibule will be presenting of the labia majora and the labia minora. Okay, see here what's a vestibule. See, it is a triangular space bounded anteriorly by the clitoris. Okay, first, the anteriorly it will be bounded by the clitoris, then posteriorly it will be bounded by the fourchette, then either side by the labia minora. Okay, this is the vestibule positions or the spacing or the shape of the vestibule. Coming to here, there are the 4 openings into the vestibule. So, what all are those? Let's see. First one is the urethral opening, second one is vaginal orifice and the hymen. Third one is opening of Bartholin's ducts. Fourth one is the Skene's gland. Okay, so these are the 4 openings into the vestibule. Urethral opening, vaginal orifice and hymen, opening of Bartholin's ducts, Skene's gland. Let's see one by one. What is the first opening into the vestibule? Urethral opening. So here this urethral opening, okay, urethral opening especially, the opening is situated in the midline, just in front of the vaginal orifice, okay, located directly below the clitoris. So where this opening is situated, this urethral opening is situated in the midline, especially in front of the vaginal orifice, and it is located directly below the clitoris. So that will be directly located directly below the clitoris, means direct towards belowing of the clitoris. Okay, then it measures about, what is the measurement of the urethral opening? It measures about 1 to 1.5 centimeters. So that will be measuring, which will be presenting below the pubic arch. Okay, then coming to the second one, that is the vaginal orifice and hymen. Okay, see here vaginal orifice, especially it is lying in the posterior and especially in the end of the vestibule. Mainly there is a variation in the size and shape of the vaginal orifice. So these vaginal opening may covered by the sheath. So means the vaginal orifice will be first lies in the posterior end of the vestibule and it is varying size and shape. Means in virgins and nullipara, the opening is closed by the labia minora. That should be remembered, ma. Okay, so especially in the virgins and the nullipara, the opening is closed by the labia minora. But in Paris women, okay, in Paris women that will be exposed. So these vaginal orifice will be exposed. So these, it is incompletely closed by a septum of mucous membrane. So means we used to call it as a septum of mucous membrane or thin sheet, that is called as a hymen. So septum of mucous membrane or the vaginal opening will be covered by the septum of mucous membrane or it is covered by the thin sheet, that is called as a hymen. So here these hymen, that membranes, this hymen shows the very thin shape. See here there is a very thin shape and the size, but it is usually circular and the crescentic in virgins. So the shape of this hymen and the vaginal orifice, we used to see that it is in a circular and the crescentic shape in the virgins. Mainly these hymen, okay, the hymen is usually ruptured at the consummation of marriage. Okay, then during the childbirth the hymen is extremely lacerated and that is laterally represented by like cicatrized nodules of varying size, that is called as a like carunculae myiartiformes. Okay, carunculae, okay, carunculae myiartiformes. So here on both sides and on the vaginal orifice, on the hymen, so these hymen, the both sides, that is mainly lined by the stratified squamous epithelium. This is the vaginal orifice which will be consisting of hymen. Okay, coming to the third one, that is the Bartholin's ducts. Here Bartholin's ducts, especially like the Bartholin's glands or the ducts, this is the greater vestibule glands. Means there are the 2 glands will be located, so that will be located slightly posterior and to the left and the right opening of the vagina. So these Bartholin glands will be located either right side one and the left side one of the opening of the vagina, and they secrete the mucus too, especially for the lubricate the vagina. And these Bartholin's ducts will be always homologous to the bulbourethral glands of the male reproductive system. Okay, see here they are situated in the superficial perineal pouch. Okay, here they are the pea-sized. What is the size of the Bartholin's duct? They are the pea-sized and it is yellowish white in color. The color of the Bartholin's duct is the yellowish white in color, and each gland has a duct with the that measures about 2 centimeters. Okay, so there are the 2 Bartholin glands, mean that is a greater vestibular gland. So one on each side, means one will be the right side of the vagina and one will be the left side of the vagina. Mainly these will be situated only in the superficial perineal pouch. So that will be having the close to the posterior end of the vestibular bulb. Okay, so whatever the superficial perineal pouch, that will be close to the vestibular bulb. Then they are the pea-sized, yellowish white in color. So during the sexual excitement, mainly these Bartholin's ducts will be secreting the abundant alkaline mucus. So these abundant alkaline mucus will be helping in lubrication. Okay, the glands are composed or compound racemose variety, and these will be lined by cuboidal epithelium. Each gland has got a duct which will be measuring about 2 centimeters, and that will be opening into the vestibule outside the hymen at the junction of the anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3 in the groove between the hymen and the labium minor. So here in these Bartholin ducts, especially the ducts, we are saying the ducts. Okay, so the ducts is lined by the columnar epithelium, but near its opening by stratified squamous epithelium. So mainly we should remember that there are the 2 types of the epitheliums, columnar epithelium and the stratified squamous epithelium. So here always these Bartholin ducts will be homologous to the bulb of the penis in male. Got it? So this is the Bartholin's ducts. Then last and the final, that is the Skene's gland. So here the last and the final opening of the vestibule, that is the Skene's gland. Here Skene's glands are the largest paraurethral glands. Okay, means these Skene's gland are homologous to the prostate in males. There are the 2 Skene's ducts that will be opens into the vestibule, one on either side of the external urethral meatus. So there are the 2 openings, but only one will be opening on the first side of the first part either side of the external urethral meatus. So these glands will be open. Okay, then these are the 4 types of the openings into the vestibule. Okay, vestibule, the vestibules consisting of the 4 openings into the vestibule: urethral opening, vaginal orifice, Bartholin's ducts and the Skene's gland. Then coming to the next one is the perineum. Okay, see here, don't forget that we are discussing only the external genitalia. Okay, so we have finished mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, then clitoris, vestibule. So under the vestibule we have discussed the urethral opening, vaginal orifice and the hymen. Then we have seen the opening of the Bartholin's ducts. Then also we have seen the Skene's gland. So then coming to the here we are seeing the perineum. So here perineum means, so it is we know that it is located between the pubic symphysis and the coccyx. Okay, see here this whatever we have discussed that it is a diamond shaped. Okay, so this perineum, the shape of the perineum will be in a diamond shaped area that includes the anus and the especially in the females we used to see the vagina. Okay, so this is the perineum. Mainly this perineum is made up of muscle and the tissue. Muscle and the tissue will be located between the vaginal opening and the canal. That is the perineum. Means there will be the presence of the muscle and the tissue. So these both will be located between the vaginal opening and the especially in the anal canal. Got it? So these are the external genitalia organs, means vulva. Okay, we have seen the mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, urethral opening, vaginal opening. Okay, then we have also seen the perineum. Coming to the internal genital organs, see here, internal genital organs, there are the main four types of the internal genital organs: vagina, uterus, fallopian tubes, ovaries. Okay, see here, let's discuss one by one. So what is, and also we have there are the three types of the organs ma. First one is the external genital organs, internal genital organs, and third one is the accessory organs. So at accessory organs, only the one gland, that is the mammary glands. Okay, so let's discuss the first internal organs. We have finished the external organs. Okay, see here, internal organs, first one is the vagina. See here, the vagina, we know that the internal organs includes the genital organs in the females, that includes the vagina, uterus, fallopian tubes, and the ovaries. So these will be located, these organs are especially placed internally, and these organs, internal organs, require the special instruments for the inspection. Okay, for the external organs there is no need of the special requirements or the special instruments for the inspection, but for the inspection of the internal organs, internal genital organs, we need the special equipments, means special instruments. So from that internal genital organs, we are going to discuss the first organ is the vagina. Okay, see here, vagina is a fibromuscular. This is the vagina ma. So here next picture you can able to see in detail. Okay, see here clearly you can able to see the picture. Then here the vagina is a fibromusculomembranous sheath. Okay, mainly here vagina, the muscular tube that is leading from the external genitals to the cervix of the uterus in women and most female mammals. Yes, so here the vagina, it will be having the muscular tube, so that will be leading from the external genitals to the cervix of the uterus in the women. Especially we used to see this vagina in the female mammals. Okay, see here, the vagina connects the cervix to the external genitals. Vagina connects the cervix to the external genitals, so that will be located between the rectum and the bladder. So this is a fibromuscular membranous sheath. So these fibromuscular membranous sheath communicating the uterine cavity with the exterior or at the vulva, means it constitutes the excretory channels for the uterine secretions and also the menstrual blood, means it is the organ of copulation and forms the birth canal of parturition. Yes or no? So here these organ will be helpful in the copulation and especially in the forming of birth canal of parturition. Mainly these vaginal canal that will be directed upwards and backwards, forming the angle of 45 degrees. Okay, so the vagina, so that consisting of the 45 degrees with the horizontal in erect posture. Okay, so here the long axis of the vagina almost lies parallel to the plane of the pelvic inlet, and also right angles to that of the uterus, means the diameter of these vaginal canal will be at least 2.5 centimeters. Okay, see here the diameters of the vagina will be at least 2.5 centimeters. That will be being widest in the upper part, and it will be having the narrowest to its introitus, means widest part in the upper part and narrowest in the introitus, means it has got enough power of distensibility as evident during the childbirth. Okay, so let's see the walls of the vagina. So here the walls of the vagina, mainly vagina has got two, consisting of the two walls. First one is the anterior vaginal wall and the posterior vaginal wall. So here the anterior and the posterior vaginal walls are completely opposed together, but the lateral walls are comparatively stiffer, especially at its middle. It looks like H shape. So these walls look like H shape. Okay, so here the length of the anterior wall is about 7 centimeters and the length of the posterior wall is about 9 centimeters. Okay, so these are the two walls of the vagina. Coming to the fornices of the vagina. So here there are the mainly 4 fornices were present. So the fornices are the cleft formed at the top of the vagina, means that will be formed at the top of the wall due to the projection of the uterine cervix through the anterior vaginal wall, so where it is blended like inseparably with its wall. So by that these fornices were formed. So especially there are the four types of the four fornices were present over the vagina. First one is the one anterior fornices, second one is one posterior fornices, and third one is two lateral fornices. So here the posterior one being deeper and the anterior will be, posterior will be the very deeper and anterior will be the shallow. Okay, and anterior will be the most shallow one. This lateral will be the just normal in a like a position. Got it? So these are the four fornices. Coming to the layers. So here before the structures of the layers of the vagina, we have to know that the relations of these fornices. So here the anterior fornices mainly the upper one third, so that will be related with the base of the bladder, and lower one third will be with the urethra. Okay, means the lower half of which will be firmly embedded with its wall, means so this anterior will be completely embedded with the vaginal wall. Coming to the posterior fornices, so here the posterior upper will be the one third that will be related with the pelvic cellular tissue at the base of the broad ligaments, means in which the ureter and the uterine artery that will be lying approximately 2 centimeters from the lateral fornices, means the middle third is blended with the levator ani, and the lower third is completely related to the bulbocavernosus muscle. Okay, say here upper one third will be present over and the lower one third will be present over. So here lower one third will be completely related with the bulbocavernosus muscle. Okay, so here upper third will be having related with the like which will be having approximately related with the ligaments. Here the vestibular bulb and not only here the upper one third will be having relationship between the bulbocavernous muscle, but it is also having the relationship between the vestibular bulbs and also the Bartholin's glands. Okay, here this is the one posterior. Coming to the two lateral means here upper third. Here first see anterior, we used to see the upper one third will be having relationship between the base of the bladder and lower one third will be having with the urethra. Okay, then one posterior will be having with the like upper one third will be having the pouch of Douglas. Okay, so here pouch of Douglas will be having with the connection of the upper one third. Coming to here lower one third will be having with the like bulbocavernous muscle, and see here separated like anal canal, means lower third will be separating the anal canal like perineal body will be separated by the lower one third of the canal. Okay, coming to the two lateral. So here the two lateral means so there is the upper one third and the lower third. Okay, so here the upper one third will be having the like pelvic cellular tissue. The pelvic cellular tissue will be present over the base of broad ligaments, means in which the ureter and the uterine artery which will be lying approximately 2 centimeters from the lateral fornices, means the middle third will be completely blended with the levator ani, and the lower third is completely related to the like bulbocavernosus muscles, vestibular glands and the Bartholin's ducts. Okay, these are the relations of the anterior relation and the posterior relation and the lateral wall relations. Coming to the structures or the layers of the vagina. So here the structures and the layers of the vagina mainly, so the layers will be forming within the outwards of the vagina. So the outward layers, so the first one is the mucus coat layer, second one is the submucous layer, third one is the muscular layer. So here the mucus coat layer that will be lined by stratified squamous epithelium. So in this mucus coat layer that is having the stratified squamous epithelium without any secreting glands. So these mucus coat layer were formed over the outwards of the vagina. Coming to the second one, that is the submucous layer. So here the submucous layer, especially submucous layer of loose areolar vascular tissues. So these are the loose areolar vascular tissues. Coming to the third one, that is a muscular layer. It will be consisting of indistinct inner circular and outer longitudinal muscles. Okay, and there is a one coat, that is a fibrous coat layer is also present, so that will be derived from the endopelvic fascia, means that is having highly vascular in nature. Okay, these are the layers or the structures of the vagina. Got it. So this is we know that blood supply of the vagina, means that will be having there are the 4 types of the blood supply for the vagina. 4 arteries were involved in the supplying of the blood supply, that is the cervico-vaginal branch of the uterine artery, and next artery is the vaginal artery, then middle rectal artery, then internal pudendal. So these are anastomosis which one another that forms the 2 zygous arteries, means anterior and the posterior. Okay, so the veins will be draining into the internal iliac veins and the internal pudendal veins. So there is a lymphatic system will be present over the vagina, nerve supply will be present over vagina. So here the lymphatic system means like on each side the lymphatic drains into the upper one third means internal iliac group. Okay, middle one third means that will be up to only the hymen, means internal iliac group. Coming to the below the hymen means superficial inguinal group. Okay, nerve supply means the vagina is supplied by the sympathetic and the parasympathetic from the pelvic plexus, means the lower part is supplied by the only the pudendal nerves. So here we know the development of the vagina, mainly the vagina is developed by the different following sources, like there are the first source is the upper 4/5 means there is a above the hymen, means there is a it is also developed by the above the hymen, means the mucous membrane is derived from the endoderm of the canalized sino-vaginal bulbs. Then musculature that is also developed from the mesoderm of the 2 fused Mullerian ducts. Okay, then lower 1/5, so that will be present over the below the hymen, means that will be developed like endoderm of the urogenital sinus. Then external vaginal orifice is also formed from the genital fold. Ectoderm means after the rupture of the urogenital membrane. So these are the main sources for the developing of the vagina. Okay, this is the first internal genital organ. Then coming to the second internal genital organ, that is the uterus. So this is the picture of the uterus. So see here uterus. So here let's discuss in detail regarding the uterus. So here uterus is a halopiriform muscular organ. Okay, halopiriform muscular organ. It is situated in the pelvis. So where it is situated? It is situated in the pelvis between the bladder in front and the rectum behind, means in front of the bladder and behind the rectum. These uterus was situated, and it is made up of endometrium, myometrium and the perimetrium. See here, see this is the picture of the uterus. This is the fundus, and this is the anatomical internal os, histological external internal os will be present. We know that os will be present, external os and the internal os. So here supravaginal portion, so this is the portion, the empty portion, that is called as a supravaginal portion. Then portio vaginalis and external os, so this is the external os. Okay, so here the parts of the uterus will be present So here the parts of the uterus, mainly there are the 3 parts: body cavity and isthmus, cervix. So here the body cavity will be around approximately 3.5 centimeters, and the isthmus will be approximately 0.5 centimeters, and the cervix will be approximately 2.5 centimeters. Okay, see here the position of the uterus. Okay, here it is a normal position. Normal position is one of the anteversion and the anteflexion. So like the uterus usually inclines to the right, means dextrorotation, means so that the cervix is directed to the left, means if the cervix is directed towards the right, means that is a dextrorotation. If the cervix is directed towards the left, is that is the if the cervix is directed towards the left, is that is the levorotation, means that comes in close with the relation of the left ureter. Okay, then coming to the measurement of the uterus. So we have seen the exact measurements and the parts of the uterus. So here the uterus measures about the 8 long, is the 8 centimeters long and the 5 centimeters wide. So the wide will be at the fundus, and the walls are about 1.25 centimeter thickness will be present of the uterus walls. Then coming to the weight of the uterus will be at least 50 grams to the 80 grams mainly. So here on the parts of the uterus. Okay, so here it is having the different following parts. So here body or the corpus and isthmus and the cervix. So we have seen in the picture. Okay, the body or the corpus, mainly the body is further divided into the fundus, means the part which will be lying above the opening of the uterine tubes, means the body proper is a triangular and it will be lies between the openings of the tubes and the isthmus. Okay, openings of the tubes and the isthmus. So these body or the corpus will be present. Okay, so these body or the corpus will be the supralateral angles of the body, means the uterus projects towards outwards from the junction of the fundus and the body, that will be used to call as a cornea of the uterus. Okay, so here the centimeters it is measures approximately 5 centimeters, means the uterine tube, round ligament and the ligament of the ovary is completely attached to it. Okay, then coming to the isthmus. So here the isthmus, mainly the measurement of the isthmus is approximately 0.5 centimeters and it is situated between the body and the cervix. So see here the picture, you can able to understand very easily. See here the isthmus is present like situated between the body and the cervix. Mainly it is limited above the anatomical internal os. Okay, see here anatomical internal os and below the histological internal os. See here it will be present anatomical internal and the below the histological internal os, means some will be considering it as a like lower portion of the body of the uterus, means it is a lower portion of the body of the uterus. Coming to the cervix. So cervix is a cylindrical shape. So this is the cervix. So it is a cylindrical shape and it measures about the 2.5 centimeters and it is also extending from the isthmus and it ends at the external os, means which will be helping in the opening into the vagina after the perforating its anterior wall, means so these part of the cervix will be lying above the vagina, so that we used to call it as a supravaginal, and that will be lies within the vagina, that is called as a vaginal part. Got it? So these are the parts of the uterus. Coming to the, so here same the relations of the uterus will be present over the anterior relation, posterior relation and the lateral relations. Same coming to here the structures of the layers of the uterus will be present over the uterus. So there are the mainly 3 layers will be present. First one is the parametrium, myometrium and the endometrium. See here the parametrium, it is a serous coat which invests the entire organ except on the lateral borders, means the peritoneum, that is intimately adherent to the underlying muscles. Okay, then coming to the myometrium. See here you can able to observe the layers. Okay, see here myometrium like we can able to see in the next picture. Okay, the myometrium it consisting of the thick bundles of the smooth muscles that will be holding in the connective tissues, and it is also like arranged in the various directions, especially during the pregnancy. This will be showing the like distinct 3 distinct layers, means longitudinal, middle interlacing and inner circular layers will be shown by the myometrial layer. Coming to the endometrium. So here the endometrium, the mucus lining of the cavity, that is called as a endometrium, means there is no submucous layer, means the endometrium is directly opposed to the muscle coat. It consisting of the lamina propria and the surface epithelium. So here the endometrium is having, that is changed to the decidua during the pregnancy. Okay, here like coming to the cervix. Okay, see here cervix we have discussed. It is composed of mainly fibrous connective tissue. Okay, the smooth muscle fibers, that will be average at least 10 to 15% of the average muscles were present over the cervix. These are the layers of the uterus. Coming to the fallopian tubes, and the third genital organ is the fallopian tube. So this is the picture of the fallopian tube. So this is the isthmus, ampulla, infundibulum, fimbriae, abdominal ostium, and pars uterina, uterine ostium, mesosalpinx, ovary, uterus. Okay, so these are the parts of the fallopian tube. Let's discuss in detail regarding the fallopian tubes. So here the fallopian tubes are approximately 10 centimeters. Okay, the fallopian tubes are approximately 10 centimeters. Especially before knowing the size of the fallopian tubes, we have to know that the uterine tubes, these are the uterine tubes that will be having the paired structures, approximately 10 centimeters, usually about 7 to 12 centimeters in the length. Okay, these fallopian tubes are connected towards the ovaries to the uterus. Okay, so in these fallopian tubes, ova means egg cells are carried to the uterus through the fallopian tubes following the ovulation. See here the ovary, so that will be carrying towards the egg cells will be carried by the fallopian tubes, means that will be leading to the ovulations in the uterus, means that will be making as a fertilization. Okay, coming to here, the parts of the fallopian tubes are divided into the 4 parts. So first one is the interstitial portion, second one is the isthmus, third one is the ampulla, and fourth one is the infundibulum. So here interstitial portion, we used to call it as the intramural part. So here the intramural part, it is approximately 1 to 1.25 centimeters long, and it lies within the walls of the uterus. Mainly its lumen is 1 mm wide, so it will be having the 1 millimeter wide will be present over the interstitial portion. Coming to the second one, that is the isthmus. So here the isthmus we used to call it as a adjoint uterus. Mainly these adjoint uterus will be extending for 2.5 centimeters from the uterus. Okay, coming to the third one, that is the ampulla. Okay, so here the ampulla, the another name for the ampulla is the central portion. So see here the picture shows intramural portion, isthmus, ampulla, and the fimbria. So here the ampulla, this will be having the wider portion where fertilization usually occurs. Okay, the approximately it is consisting of the 5 centimeters long. So it is the largest and the longest portion of the tube. Okay, this is the longest and the largest portion of the fallopian tubes. Coming to the infundibulum. So in the infundibulum, it is the funnel shaped, okay, funnel shaped lateral end of the fallopian tubes, means the ovaries overlies the ovary, means several finger like process and elongated to the edge of the infundibulum, that we used to call as a fimbria. So this is the infundibulum. Okay, these are the parts of the fallopian tubes. Coming to the ovary, next genital organ is the ovary. So see here, this is the structure of the ovary. So see here, there will be the presence of the estrogen, progesterone, okay, corpus luteum, fimbria, developing follicles, ovaries will be present over the ovary, and see here, see, this will be having the formation of the zygote, means fertilization will be occurring. Okay, implantation of the blastocytes, okay, ostium. See, let's discuss regarding the ovaries. Okay, so here ovaries or the paired sex glands or the gonads in the females. Okay, these are the female gonads, the primary female reproductive organs. Okay, the each ovary is having the approximately 3 to 5 centimeters long, and the wide will be 2 to 3 centimeters, and thickness will be the 1 to 3 centimeters. Coming to the functions of the ovary. Here the functions of the ovary, especially oogenesis, there are the majorly 3 functions. First one is oogenesis. Oogenesis means we know that formation of mature ovum from the follicle into the pelvic cavity. So this is the first function of ovaries. And here see, before the functions we have missed here 2 points, that is this ovary is attached to the broad ligament by the mesovarium. Okay, and the ovary is composed of medulla and cortex, which will be covered with the germinal epithelium. Okay, then coming to the functions of the ovaries, oogenesis. Oogenesis means formation of mature ovum from the follicle into the pelvic cavity. Coming to the second one, ovulation. We know that ovulation means expulsion of matured ovum from the Graafian follicle into the fimbriated end of the fallopian tubes. Coming to the secretion of the hormones, so here the secretion of the hormones, only there are the two hormones were secreted. First one is the estrogen and the second one is the progesterone. Let's see the estrogen. Here the estrogen hormone is secreted under the influence of the follicle stimulating hormone, means FSH, and work that will be working promotes structure, promotes the development and maintenance of the female reproductive structures, especially in the feminine secondary characteristics and the breast. So it is also increases the protein anabolism, like stimulating the long bone calcification also. Then coming to the progesterone, so here the progesterone secreted under the influence of LH. LH means luteinizing hormone. Okay, luteinizing hormone, and that will be working with the estrogen, especially for the preparing of the endometrium for implantation of fertilized ovum. Mainly this progesterone will be inhibiting the uterine contraction during the pregnancy, and it prepares the mammary glands for the secretion of the milk. Got it? So these are the functions of the ovary. Coming to the last and the final, that is the accessory. So we have finished the internal genital organs by this ovary. Coming to the accessory organs, so here the accessory glands, only the one accessory gland, that is the breast. So here the picture shows the in detail regarding the breast, like this is a chest wall, pectoralis muscle, Cooper's ligaments, small ducts, acini, major ducts, nipple, lobes, and the ribs will be present. Okay, let's see breast. Here the breast is the tissue. Okay, we know that breast is the tissue that overlying the chest pectoral muscles. Okay, these breasts or the large modified sebaceous glands. So this will be consisting of the like sebaceous glands will be present over the breast. Okay, then here the size of the base of the breast is completely constant, like these reproductive organs, because this breast will be concerned with the lactation following the childbirth. Okay, breast or bilateral. Okay, we know that the shape of the breast will be varies in women, and also it will be having the different periods of the life, but the size of the breast will be always constant, means it usually extends from the second to the sixth rib in the mid clavicular line, means it lies in the subcutaneous tissue over the fascia, which will be covering the pectoralis major, even beyond the two that will be lying over the serratus anterior and the external oblique. So here the lateral projection of the breast towards the axilla, that is known as the axillary tail of Spence. Okay, see here the breast weighs at least about 200 to 300 grams during the childbearing age. Okay, so coming to the structures of the breast, so here first areola. So we know that areola that is placed about the center of the breast, and it is completely pigmented, and its centimeters about 2.5 centimeters in diameters. Okay, then second one is the Montgomery glands. So here the Montgomery glands or the accessory glands that will be located around the periphery of the areola, means these Montgomery glands will be secrete the milk. Okay, then coming to the nipple. A nipple, that is a muscular projection that will be covered by the pigmented skin, means that is it is a vascular, and it will be surrounded by the unstriated muscles which make it erectile, means it these nipple will be accommodates about the 15 to 20 lactiferous ducts. How many lactiferous ducts? 15 to 20 lactiferous ducts, and their openings will be performed by the nipple, means each milk duct, means that will be dilated to form the lactiferous. Okay, lactiferous sinus at about 5 to 10 away from its opening of the nipple. Then coming to the fat and the ampulla. So here the fat and the ampulla, that is a absent beneath the nipple and the areola, means there is a presence of the fat, so that sometimes it will be present over the beneath the nipple and the areola, means the mature breast will be consisting of the 20% of the glandular tissue and 80% of the fat will be. So the rest connective tissue. Okay, so here 80% of the fat will be over. Coming to the, we know that ampulla means to form the ampulla, that where the milk is stored. Coming to the Cooper's ligament. So here the Cooper's ligament means like each lobe has each lobe will be present in the lobes will be present over the breast. So here that each lobe has about like 10 to 100 lobules will be present over the each lobe. So here Cooper's ligaments or the fibrous septa means that extends from the skin to the underlying pectoral fascia, means these ligaments will be providing support to the breast, means the one lactiferous duct will be draining a lobe. Okay, so there will be presence of the myoepithelial cells and the striated cells also present over these Cooper's ligament. So see here, this is the picture shows in detail regarding the organs or the parts of the breast, chest muscles, axillary lymph nodes, fatty tissue, fibrous tissue, ribs will be present, and also clavicle, collarbone. So this is the collarbone, sternum, breastbone, areola, nipple, ducts, lobules or the mammary glands. Okay, so see here the clavicle. Clavicle means collarbone. So this will be marking the upper boundary of the breast tissue. Okay, then areola. So the areola is a dark circle of the skin that surrounds the nipple. Sternum. Sternum means it is the breastbone that can be felt beneath the skin. Nipple is a outlet, is the outlet for milk during the breastfeeding. Coming to the fibrous tissue, so here the fibrous tissue, the yellowish color, so these all are the fibrous tissue that will be supporting the breast, that making them like 10 film. Okay, then ducts, so the ducts will be carrying the milk from the lobules during the breastfeeding. Lobules, so here the lobules are the mammary glands which produce the milk during the pregnancy and the breastfeeding. Coming to the fatty tissue, so here the fatty tissue fills the spaces around the ducts and the lobules. And then axillary lymph nodes, so these are the axillary lymph nodes that will be filtering the lymph fluid from the breast and that will be helping the body fight infections. Ribs, so the ribs can be felt beneath the under the skin, chest muscles, so that will be helping move from the arm. Okay, these are the parts of the breast. Okay, by this we have finished the female reproductive system. So we have discussed regarding the in detail regarding the female reproductive system, external genital organs and the internal genital organs. External genital organs, we have seen the like mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, then clitoris, urethral opening, then also we have seen the vaginal opening, perineum. Then internal organs, we have seen the vagina, cervix, uterus, fallopian tubes, ovaries. Okay, then also we have seen the ovaries, fallopian tubes, breast. Accessory organs, we have seen the breast. Okay, we have finished the female reproductive system. So see, take care of corona. Please follow these instructions, protect yourself and others. Follow these whatever the government has doing, government has instructing us, so follow this. So whatever do's and don'ts, so together we can fight with against the coronavirus. Practice, we should practice frequent hand washing, wash hands with the soap and the water or using any alcohol based hand rub. Wash hands even if they are visibly clean. Then cover your nose and mouth with the handkerchief, handkins, tissue while sneezing or the coughing, and throw used tissues into the closed bins immediately after the using. And see a doctor if you feel like unwell, like fever or difficulty breathing and any cough. Okay, while visiting doctor, wear a mask or cloth to cover your mouth. Okay, then you have to cover your mouth and the nose. Then if you have these signs and the symptoms, please you can call the state or the state helpline number or the ministry or the family welfare helpline number. Then avoid participating in the large gatherings. So we have to do these instructions, follow these instructions for protecting ourselves. Then what we should not do, we should not have a close contact with anyone. If you are experiencing any cough and the fever, and you should not touch your eyes and nose and the mouth, should not split in a public. So by that we can able to together we can fight against with the corona. Okay, stay home, stay safe, stay healthy. Okay, if you want to get more updates or more videos, you can subscribe the Vinita Online Nursing Classes channel. Okay, please do like, share and subscribe for more updates. Thank you everyone.